Mary has been in the studio a lot more than I have in the past few weeks, and she's looking all bright and beautiful as always.
Thank you very much, Titi. It's great to have you back.
It's been a minute.
Indeed,
that's one thing I can say. Mary is one of those people that always tries to keep in touch. We chat once in a while, but I know that you guys have been so focused on the show. Of course, I've not been around for a while, but I've been watching. We need you to send in those comments with the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC for social media. Please remember, our app is available for you to download. And of course, this is for Android and iOS stores. Make sure you try and watch us from wherever you are in the world. Okay, we're going to be starting off the show with Daily Vulnerables with Chude Jidanwo. And then?
I was driving over a cool bridge in Lagos. I'd come back from, I think, the cinemas in VI. And I thought to myself, you know what, Chude, and I've told this story many times, and it never ceases to make me want to cry when I remember it. I say,
for motivation this Monday, we have Alex Adefemi, popularly known as Coach AAA. He's a highly sought-after executive and business leadership coach. He'll be talking to us about reinventing ourselves in crisis. And of course, we're going to take a step back in time. We're going to look at significant happenings in history this week. This show is not a breakfast show without breakfast. We have Chef V cooking something special for us today.
To make right now. Yeah, this is the face of a confused chef.
I can see that. And on our auto segment today, we have all those mechanical worries people are worried about. Mr. Yomi Bosude of Auto-Centric Garage is going to be sharing how best to manage your vehicles while they're parked during a lockdown. We'll also have beautiful TV presenter, actor, model, and of course, no stranger to this show, Nancy Isime will be joining us via Skype.
Just pick one and wear now.
I'm looking for an underwear that will match what I want to wear now.
I'm just going to check if you're wearing matching underwear or not. Just wear one.
Hey, wait. So you will let me wear this to your family meeting? You want me to show up looking like my account balance?
What is wrong with what you're wearing?
And finally, in celebration of Easter, we'll be joined by Pastor Bolaji Ido of Harvesters International Christian Center.
You know that line she said? I don't know.
What did
the
she
thing
say?
just hits me somehow.
What did she say?
You want me to show up looking like your account balance.
Okay. Well, speaking of account balances, man.
Okay, no, let's not go there.
Do you really not want to go there?
I don't want to go there. Those account balances are like, are you sure you had an account before now?
So it's the thing is, it's like that all over the world. So it's not just a case of, Niger, you know, it's everywhere. Everyone is thinking about it, talking about it, how they're going to manage finances during this period of just staying at home. But then there are some people that are actually making money while they're at home. You know, some people are still taking orders. I've heard about some food people delivering cooked food and, you know, raw items. Some people are dividing cow, dividing goats. I don't know. So many things are happening out there. One thing I can say is that since I was away, there was just so much that changed in the space of 2 weeks. But Mary, please tell me how it's been since I've been away.
It's actually just been Wake Up Nigeria. That's the honest truth.
Okay.
The only difference is due to social distancing, no guests. But physically, virtually, we've been having guests, having conversations with them, you know, still learning from so many of them, DIYs, motivation, everything has been going on smoothly. So
fantastic. Don't
worry, you haven't missed much.
I'm glad to hear it. I received quite a few messages and a lot of love from people at home, a lot of people sending their love via Twitter, Instagram, and all that. I appreciate each and every one of you. I missed birthday shout-outs, you know. I just miss saying happy birthdays to people. I missed, of course, all of you in the studio. But then we have to remember that today is Easter Monday. And I don't know, how does this Easter feel to you? I don't know, how does it feel
So, Saturday and Sunday, I'm usually on radio. And yesterday evening, while I was wishing people happy Easter, it just didn't feel right. It felt like something was missing. It felt like, wow, it's Easter. There's no usual fanfare, excitement. Loads of people lost money during this period. Loads of people.
Because of events and
yeah, I was even
canceled.
stunned to see that eateries were closed yesterday. I'm suspecting many of them decided, you know what, you guys have been working all week long. Let their members of staff just have that day off. So it was really crazy. And the spate of violence lately also made it wonky as well, because people were wondering, how do we go about this? Is it better to stay indoors? And it turned out for some that it was better to stay indoors. So the Easter was...
It was in quotes, different.
Quite different.
Very different Easter. And for all of you who are, wondering how you can celebrate, for us at home, what we did was we had an Easter egg hunt in the house. So I told the kids, well, the kids suggested actually, they wanted to design Easter eggs, which is what they would have done in school, which is fun. All they need is coloring pencils and eggs, right? And as soon as they did that, I hid them around the house and they had to go and search for them.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of messy, but they eventually found it and they were really excited, and it did begin to feel a little bit like
Easter.
Yeah, so
how
that's something
sweet.
you can try.
Well,
I have to take the news update in a bit, and hopefully we'll have quite a lot of good news.
Yeah, I hope so too. Sadly, the cases increased from 318 to 324. That's the number of COVID-19 cases. And besides that, was there really much else that happened within the last 24 hours? Boris Johnson gave a speech speaking to, the British people, thanking the nurses who took care of him, one from Portugal, the other from New Zealand, which makes a very important point, the fact that the two of them were immigrants, which also further talks about the whole Brexit issue and how immigration is going to now be a thing in the UK again. It's a lot of things happening around that. So let's see what the news says, though.
Well, at this point, the papers haven't arrived yet, but I can go online to check out what's happening. And of course, thankfully, we have quite a bit of information online these days when it comes to the papers. There's quite a lot happening on social media as well, and hopefully the papers will arrive in good time. It might take a little bit of a minute to get the updates from the news when it comes to the papers, and obviously because of so many issues happening, we might not be able to get the papers to you in hard copy. But Mary has come to sit down beside me. How have the headlines been?
Okay, so the headlines, especially in the last 24 hours, have been talking more about coronavirus, of course, the new cases, as well as certain world happenings. Earlier, we mentioned Boris Johnson.
Of course. And
of course, besides that, there's also the case of more people making recoveries. Unfortunately, the death toll has increased. We have over 34,000 deaths due to the coronavirus pandemic. And just last weekend, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, America overtook Italy, having the highest number of deaths. 2,000 people died in 24 hours, more than 2,000. But it's being tallied as at least 2,000 people died. Quite sad. And as it says, America has over 500,000 cases already. So they have one of the highest cases in the world. Besides that, locally, we have about 324 now. As at yesterday, it was about 318, but now we have 324. Now, the ironic part is on Friday night, excuse me, someone died in a popular maternity hospital in Lagos, and the cause of death was COVID-19. Unfortunately, that person, the patient, had just had a child at Igondo General Hospital.
Goodness.
And she was brought via emergency because she was having some complications to, okay, I'll just mention it, to Lassoth, to Ayinke House. And unfortunately, as at the time she passed, because the doctors were like, she's showing symptoms of COVID-19, the test carried out proved that she was a patient. And so this also brings to fore the need for people to be very honest about their status, their travel status, their contact status, where they've been, who they've been with. Because at the end of the day, we're talking, people are focusing on Lasso, that's Ayinke House. There's still the issue of Igondo General Hospital where she was said to have had a child.
Wow,
So hopefully
we'll have
more updates on that as well. So do you have the headlines now?
I have, yes, headlines from some papers here, and I have from the Punch. It says here, China promises non-discriminatory treatment of Nigerians, others. The Daily Post says COVID-19 in Nigeria, and police arrest 3 priests, others in Delta. On Easter, the Vanguard says lawmaker tasks Christians on trust in God in spite of coronavirus. It says here on the cover of The Guardian, ICEED, EU installs solar system in Borno councils. It says here on Easter, The Punch says, pray against COVID-19. Abiodun El-Rufai, other governors beg Christians. Leadership newspaper says, Osinbajo, governors urge more sacrifice to defeat coronavirus. That's still talking about Easter. On the cover of the Daily Post, we also have this one. It says, Easter resonates, priceless sacrifice ever made in history, according to the Osun Deputy Governor Alabi. On international paper covers, we also have this. It says, Trump's Good Friday tweet shows his in quote, ignorance about Christianity. That's on the Washington Post. I just thought that was an interesting one to read out because there are quite a number of things people believe him to be ignorant about. And there are a lot of things people think he knows a bit too much about.
Well, that's life. You can't know everything about everything.
Exactly. On the Daily Trust, it says, churches hold Easter service in Loki in Anambra. Interesting. And it also does say here, Boris Johnson says it could have gone either way, talking about his
own personal experience. Yes.
I remember seeing some videos of the NHS workers applauding him as he went down a corridor. And I've heard quite a few times that it's a fight, you know, that people that have, you know, come down with the virus abroad have had to fight to live. And I believe they were applauding him, not just because he's the Prime Minister of the UK, but because he is fighting. People of his age, you know, have been the most susceptible in those areas.
Even in Nigeria, people are actually fighting to live. What usually helps is having a stronger immune, according to people who have actually survived. And of course, certain things that were administered by the hospitals and of course used by people who decided to treat themselves at home. Because yes, some people are treating themselves at home, though it's advisable to go to the hospital. So it depends on how you look at it. And then of course there's domestically the issue of violence, but we'll probably talk about that during coverage.
Yeah, we should. I'm going to wrap up with this one. It's on This Day newspaper, it says proposed 2-month free electricity supply to cost federal government 109.8 billion naira. All right, that's how we'll wrap it up on the newspaper headlines for this hour. We're going to be taking a quick break and be back with more. And the reason why they're saying that is so that they can ensure that their health workers have it a little bit easier. The whole idea for them is to reduce the number of people getting sick so that even if people are getting sick, the number of people going into hospitals are fewer so that the health workers can do their job efficiently.
All over the world, the situation is like an apocalypse. Like, I'm so glad Nigeria has it contained to the barest minimum, if you could call this barest minimum, considering the number of exposure. Because when you see what other countries are going through, you ask yourself, wow, how are people surviving this? It's scary.
because I was at home, there was just almost no limit to the amount of information flowing here, the ones that are right, the ones that are not so right, the ones that are fake news, the ones that are actually true, the myths as well. You know, there's just so much information out there. Please ensure you sieve through this information gradually. And of course, if you're someone that can't handle this information, make sure you do as much as possible to engage yourself in activities while you're at home.
And regarding information, there's a very simple place to get it. Just go to who.int. who.int. Any information regarding the disease itself, if you don't get it there, forget it. It's not true. So you get so many myths debunked. You get real-time information, especially as regards the vaccines and different types of cures being used and all. So just go check it out, who.int, all right?
Well, usually during this segment, we go online to check what's happening on Twitter.
Plenty. So there's Lagos Unrest, hashtag Lagos Unrest, there's hashtag Agege Unrest, there's hashtag Iyanokpaja, there's hashtag Akute, there's hashtag Ogba. There's, in fact, so many things are trending. Your boy is also there.
So there's those areas hardly ever trend, and sadly they're trending because of an uprising of robberies that have been happening in those areas. And the videos and pictures that we see online, not sure how many of them are as factual, but there are some images of very, very young men just in droves, just robbing people. And of course, people, once they've been caught, also, you know how it is on the streets, jungle justice, people beating them, maiming them to subdue them. And, we just really wish it didn't have to come to this.
Okay, so let me just give the background. There are a certain set of boys called 10,000 boys who have graduated to 1 million boys. Now, these boys were terrorizing residents of Ikotun, Abaronje, and the rest for quite a number of years. And then, for some weird reason, all of a sudden, just about last week, we started hearing that they were terrorizing Ogun State residents. Yeah. And so, coming from Songo, it was almost like, when they say ants are taking over a particular area,
just area by
they
area.
started from Songo, started coming. In fact, I heard they went as far as, they came from as far as Ifo. They were going from place to place. As at Saturday evening, they were at Meron. They were at Abule Egba as well. All those places. So with time, people stopped staying indoors and decided that, instead of being harassed at home, let's go out to the streets and try to protect ourselves. And so these boys, numbering over 200, imagine seeing several boys in your street banging on your gates, open the door, give us your money, give us everything. So with that number of guys, there was this, let's get out to the streets. And then other neighborhoods that are used to hoodlums started coming out as well. So you see people in Agege, Ogba. And then there are these guys again in Agege. They are called the Awawa Boys. They also came out. Now, they are known also as hoodlums. They, what's that stuff? That slang. They obtain people at Penn Cinema access, collect their phones, collect money from them, and then they are now mixing up with the guys supposedly trying to secure the area and even robbing people.
My question is, what is happening? We heard a report earlier on the news update from Sharon Ijason, who went to go and find out what's happening with the security personnel, what's happening with the police presence, and from online, from the tweets, there are very notable figures in Lagos, in Nigeria, who have been, calling on authorities to try and do something about it, of which the responses have mostly been that the authorities, security authorities are stretched. Also with responses that, they've received the messages, they've received these messages, and that they are trying to do something about it. So, of course, now there are probably people watching right now who have been through something really troubling. They've not been able to sleep. Many cases, they've been saying they can't sleep. They've had their eyes open and all that. The only thing we can really say is stay safe. you know, and of course keep the security, the phone numbers. What are the phone numbers again?
There are several of them.
So many
we'll
phone
probably
numbers.
share them on our social media handles, okay? So you just look out for those phone numbers, especially as regards the area you stay, and then of course you'll be able to get protection. Let's also keep in mind that it's not enough to come out en masse. It's also important to guard your own self. As we said, people amongst those securing are also robbing people. So you need to be very careful. Let's try as much as possible to not allow this escalate. Because when people are armed, they get angry. And angry people can do several crazy things. So please, let's just try to be very careful.
We have to do everything possible to stay safe.
I remember very well the day that I decided I wanted to take my own life. I was driving over a bridge in Lagos. I'd come back from, I think, the cinemas in VI. And I thought to myself, you know what, Trude, and I've told this story many times, and it never ceases to make me want to cry when I remember it. And I was just passing a bridge. I'd climbed up from the CMS side, from the market downstairs, and I'd climbed up. And I looked out into the water and I thought to myself, Trude, you know, if you just drive into the water now, everything will be okay. You know, everything will be all right. And your life will end, and you will not have to go through this pain again. That was like 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Last year, I found that thought coming close in the midst of one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced. But this time I was ready. I was ready for it. And the reason why I was ready, because I remember that no matter how bleak, no matter how bleak it feels at any point in your life, no matter how much it seems that you're never going to go through something, you're never going to get over something, if you can just wait and hold on and wait, I promise you something will happen sometime along your life that will make you think to yourself, why did I ever consider taking my own life? The fact that your life feels unlivable today doesn't mean that it will feel unlivable tomorrow. Whenever I get there, I remember that day in 2017 when I thought to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. And I think about my life now and all the amazing experiences I've had. And I remind myself that there is nothing that life can present to me that should ever make me think I no longer want to participate in this beautiful life.
All right, so we thought we would give you a few movies that you could watch with your family this Easter.
Yeah, so even as we get motivated, it's important for us to also try to make the most of the season, because it's Easter.
Yeah.
I don't think we've said Happy Easter to anyone yet.
Happy Easter!
Well,
Happy
with everything
Easter.
going on, we hope you're having a fantastic time, all right?
Yeah.
That's why we're here, to cheer you up, to make you feel good, to forget your sorrows,
Do you
forget your worries.
remember when you were younger? I'm not sure if you did this when you were younger. Just gather people around and all just watch some certain movies.
Yes.
And this is like a throwback for quite a few of these movies. It's a major throwback.
Yeah.
Major throwback. Hello and good morning. We're still in the Easter spirit, and as you know, this time of year represents the impossibilities at this point. And at this point, your faith can, of course, help you achieve things beyond your imagination. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the first hour of the show. We have another 1 hour and 45 minutes to go, filled with premium family entertainment for you this Easter. So you can share with us what you're doing this Easter with your families while you're at home, or your usual family traditions via our social media handles at TVC Connect with the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Thank you so much for joining us for the second hour of your #1 breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria. My name is Titi Oyinson. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again I'm thankful to God that I'm hale and healthy, and hopefully you are too. Why not stream the show live? If you have to move around in your environment, just go to tvcentertainment.tv, and of course Facebook has the handle at TVC Connect. We also have an amazing app that hopefully you've downloaded before, but if you haven't, just visit the iOS or Android stores. It allows you to watch us from anywhere in the world. So it's a handy app to have on your phone. Okay, now I'm going to be doing everything possible to, keep my energy up. I need coffee though. I need to find some coffee. It's been a while, and I need that coffee motivation, but some people need some other type of motivation this morning. We're going to be having Alex Adefemi, popularly known as Coach Triple A. He's a highly sought after executive and business leadership coach, and he'll be talking about reinventing yourself in crisis. And of course, we're going to be also going back in history to take a look at significant happenings this week. And of course, the show is not a breakfast show without breakfast. Chef V has something special to be cooked for our delight. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, this is the face of a confused chef.
Please don't be confused, Chef. Don't be confused. We also have an auto segment coming your way for all your mechanical worries. Mr. Yomi Bosude of Auto-Centric Garage is going to be with us. He'll be sharing our best ways to manage your vehicles while they're parked during a lockdown.
Those cars in my garage.
I hope that looks like my garage, We also have beautiful TV presenter, actor, model, and no stranger to the show, Nancy Isime. She'll be joining us via Skype.
I'm looking for an underwear that will match what I want to wear now.
I'm not gonna check if you're wearing matching underwear or not. Just wear one.
So you will let me wear this to your family meeting? You want me to show up looking like my account balance?
What is wrong with what you're wearing?
And finally, in celebration of Easter, we'll be joined by Pastor Bolaji Idowu of Harvesters International Christian Center. Yeah.
Easter. So many people might not have the chance to do certain things today. But I just want you to be very hopeful, stay positive. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
There have been talks of possibility of a lockdown extension. If that happens, let's just try as much as possible to make the most of it. We know our security agents are stretched.
Yeah.
So let's try as much as possible, even as we try to support them, not resort to violence ourselves in the process. So let's just stay positive.
Welcome back. It's about time for us to take a look at the headlines in the dailies this morning. And I have the Guardian newspaper starting us off. It says here, WHO and CDC warn against easing COVID-19 lockdowns. 15 firms race for cure. May okay drugs by June. No positive result is absolute, expert warns. How coronavirus is impeding fight against other diseases. Page 25 has more on that. Also, it says here, confusion over planned 104 billion naira free electricity for Nigerians. Disco's back move, Genco's yet to decide. 90% of Nigerians may miss out in the scheme. It also says here, there's a story on the editorial page on 5G, COVID-19, and the conspiracy theories. And that's what we have on the cover of The Guardian. I'll be moving on to the cover of The Punch now. And it says here, Nigeria's testing capacity very low. NMA, nurses, others warn. Nigeria tests 5,000, Ghana 37,954, South Africa 80,085. Without lockdown enforcement, full-blown transmission imminent. Federal government mulls new strategies as cases spread to communities. It also says here that demand for deadly disease insurance to rise, according to CIIN. No reopening of schools yet, federal government tells Nigerians. On the 5G controversy, Oyakilome recants cites health risks. It says here also petrol price could further drop by 8 naira per litre, according to marketers. It also says generator fumes kill man during romp with pregnant woman. It also says here ex-commissioner recants as Kwara hits hard on ventilators claim. It also says Easter tragedy, teenagers drown in Lagos beach. I'm a little concerned as to the fact that people were still at the beach during this Easter holiday. It also says Akeredolu accuses police of collecting bribes at Ondo boundaries. And I'll wrap with this one. Residents turn vigilantes as hoodlums raid Ogun, Lagos communities. That's what we have on the cover of The Punch. I also have the Vanguard here this morning. It says COVID-19, NCDC under fire over tests, slow response. Low tests per population, just 5,000 of Nigeria's near 200 million tested so far. NCDC's lines often don't connect, samples not taken for days. Only symptomatic patients being tested, aggressive testing needed, according to Tomori. How we define cases by Ihe Kwazu. It says testing capacity being increased. Meanwhile, South Africa carries out 75,000 tests, Ghana 37,400, Egypt 25,000 tests, Nigeria still at 5,000. That's what we have on the cover of the Vanguard. I have the Nigerian Tribune with me as well. It says how coronavirus exposed failings of Nigeria's healthcare system. Pages 2 and 6 talk more. It also says Lagos discharges 5 more patients. NCDC confirms 5 new cases. Still on COVID-19, jobs must be protected, NLC tells federal government. Troops rescue 21 kidnapped victims in Zamfara and Niger. Serap writes federal government to share 37 billion naira NAS renovation fund to states. On the Ogun unrest, police arrest 150 suspects. Wanted gang leader Ekugbemi killed, buried in Ibadan. Meanwhile, CBN issues guideline for 100 billion naira pharmaceutical fund. Right at the top here, on Easter celebration, churches shut as leaders conduct services online. As 3 priests, 20 others arrested in Delta. Nigeria, OPEC plus US, Mexico agreed to cut oil production by 9.7 million barrels, raising the hope of oil price rebound. And that's what we have on the cover of the Nigerian Tribune. All right. Now, we have quite a bit still happening on the show, and we'll be taking a quick break. It's still Wake Up Nigeria.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lifestyle 360 with Jumia. And we're at I Am Fit Gym, as always, helping you keep fit from the comfort of your home, just as we let you shop from the comfort of your home.
So welcome, guys. This is an ab session for every level. Go at your pace and stay safe. Press play, try and go as much as possible. It's designed to help you get better. We're doing 4 circuits of 2 minutes each. Each program is 30 seconds, and just press play. There's a rest in between, so just push your body as much as you can and stay safe. So the first exercise is one leg on the other, your hands behind your head, and 30 seconds now. 1. So get your head and your shoulders, upper shoulders just off the mat. Keep breathing, keep breathing. Go as much as you can, go at your own pace. It's 30 seconds. This is for the 6 packs, your transverse abs. Like the front abs, we're working on it. Keep pushing, we're almost there. Keep pushing, keep breathing. We're gonna switch legs. Then we're gonna keep going. The difference with me and Dami is my intensity. I can go quicker, or just go at your own pace. Now you truly start to feel a burn. Start to feel a little burn. Keep pushing, we're almost done. It's 30 seconds. You know in 30 seconds, nothing can truly hurt you in 30 seconds. Challenging for every fitness level, even me. So now we'll go back to Neil's toe tap. Drop your hands by your side, drop your neck and shoulders, and we're just gonna tap, tap, tap. So your neck and shoulders off the mat, your core is activated all through, and you're working through your obliques. Just kind of touching all those love handles. This is where we start to push. Yes, push. I can go a little quicker. Dami is going at her own pace. Great. We're gonna keep pushing, keep breathing. Push, push, push. Now we're gonna transition legs up, hands behind your head, knees to elbows. 1. Hold on the mat, and this way our neck is just slowly our hand is not pulling the neck, it's just coming up for the right. Reverse so on the side, use your hand here and turn 1, 2, 3, turn around. Yes, we're just gonna lay back and ta-da!
Hello and good morning. Welcome back. Alex Adefemi, popularly known as Coach AAA, is a highly sought-after executive and business leadership coach. He is the lead coach and CEO of Management Solutions Consult, focused mainly on organizational culture, change, and executive leadership. He's going to be talking to us about reinventing yourself during a crisis. Coach AAA, good morning.
Hi, Titi. It's good to hear and see you again. This is a bit weird, I must say.
You know, these are interesting times, you know, which is
yes, very interesting, very interesting. Social distancing is now, it's likely going to be a norm now. So these kind of interviews, we might happen more often.
True, true. Hopefully you're
Yes.
staying safe. You're staying safe?
Yes, I am. I am, by God's grace, you know. doing everything they were told to do. We're following what the experts are saying. And then we pray and trust God that all this will pass over soon.
Amen to that. Speaking of the fact that people are at home right now, a lot of speakers, coaches online have been talking a lot about, reinventing oneself. Now, when it comes to the time of a crisis, what advice would you give? I know you've probably been doing that online as well. You've probably been talking to people on the phone. How would you advise people start to reinvent themselves while they're at home? Yeah,
you're right. I've been doing 12-day series on Insta Live, and it has been awesome. Now, I'm going to be sharing some of those thoughts with you here and now. So the first thing that I would suggest is, or let me put it this way, you need to ask yourself about 4 questions. Now, these questions will be the hallmark of the answers that you give yourself and where you find yourself, how you reinvent yourself even after the COVID-19. So what we call the post-COVID. So the first question will be, how will this crisis affect the world around you when this is over? How will this crisis affect the world around you? So you need to ask yourself, okay, so the world around you, basically, if you're a Nigerian and wherever you're watching, whether you're watching from Kenya, watching from South Africa, or even the US, the world around you is your immediate country. That's what I'm talking about right now. So how will this COVID-19, or how will the crisis, let me put it that way, affect the world around you? So you want to look at the world around you in what is called a PESTEL framework. A PESTEL is an acronym for political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Now you want to look at how does this affect you on the how will it change the world? How will it change the world around you on a political level, on an economic level, on a social level, on a technological level, on a legal level? Basically, how will they affect the laws that are going to be created? What kind of laws will be created at this time? And then the environmental level. So political level, of course, is the governance, the government. How would this affect the policies that government will create? How would this affect the economy? So the finance, the economic base of the country. How would this affect it? How will this crisis affect the social, the way we interact, our social life? How will this affect it? Of course, we're already discussing social distancing. That's it affecting our social life already. So you want to look at how is it going to affect the use of technology? How will this crisis affect the use of technology? How will this crisis affect the laws that will be created, like I mentioned earlier? And how will this affect the environment around you? So the physical environment, how will this crisis affect it? Now, with this framework, you can easily look at it and say, okay, if you are able to pinpoint these areas of life, of the world around you, you can then find yourself in between at the core and say, okay, so if these changes will occur in these areas that I have mentioned, how will these changes affect my business? How will these changes affect my career or my job? How will these changes affect my personal life? That's the first question you need to ask. Then the second question will be, what are the ways you must evolve to be able, in order to be competitive, in order to be competitive, to be relevant, and to thrive in the new world, or in the changes that has occurred in the world? So that's the second question you need to ask yourself. What are the ways you need to evolve? See, in other words, what skills do you need to harness? What are the things you need to improve on? What other skills do you need to learn at this time to be competitive, to be relevant, and to thrive despite the changes that occur? So you must look at all that. Yes.
Yes, there's quite a lot of information out there about different ideas, and it does feel like an information overload at a point. Reinventing oneself also would mean that people actually know themselves in the first place. So you did talk about PESTEL. Was it PESTEL you said?
Yes, I did.
PESTEL.
Yes.
So from that acronym, The ones I want to touch on are the legal and economic aspects, which were the last two.
Okay, go ahead.
So a lot of people are seeing changes in their economic status. A lot of people have, just realized, they don't have much savings. They don't really have anything planned for reinventing themselves or even reinvesting in themselves. What advice would you give someone who came up to you and talked about, the fact that, hey, you know what, I don't even think I have enough money to, do anything new, to start something fresh, if we're still using the word reinventing?
Yes, so now this is it. And I have asked this question on social media just some days ago. I was asking business owners, small business owners, to tell me what are the challenges that they're facing right now concerning their businesses, especially in this lockdown period. And a lot of them shared different issues, mostly financial issues. Now, just like in line with what you just said, now the thing there is, you must, I believe that there are tools available, especially online, that you can avail yourself of that probably won't cost you much, or that won't cost you anything at all. What you must first of all do is, you can't just go ahead and say you want to improve yourself. You can't just tell yourself, just like you said, you need to first of all assess yourself, but as well as assess the world around you, the environment around you. The environment around you, you would have to evolve to be able to be effective if the environment around you changes after the crisis. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So if you evolve in a way that is not effective to the environment around you, you have wasted your evolution rather.
Okay, so at this point, there are probably some people in some communities who notice that they have some, some areas that they could farm in, for instance. So maybe someone decides to plant vegetables, carrots, tomatoes, or what have you. And this person was probably a banker, or is probably a banker, not knowing whether the person's job is still there for them after this crisis, so to speak. Since we're motivating people, there are a lot of people who are reinventing themselves on a completely different level. I've heard about
from banker to farmer.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure if you've had conversations like this before, but what advice would you give someone who came up to you with that kind of information?
Okay, so let me understand your question clearly. So you're asking me now that if I had someone walked up to me and said they wanted to evolve or reinvent themselves from maybe from a banker to a farmer.
Yeah.
So fine. So now this is it. I don't think anybody should take any rash decisions in this time.
Okay.
Because it's like saying you want to start making decisions and you want to start running in the dark. You do not know exactly where everything will be positioned when the light comes on. Now, this, as the way I see it, is that the world currently is in darkness. And I'm not speaking spiritually, I'm just talking metaphorically. The world currently is in darkness, and then a time will come when this whole thing will die down. It will pass. Literally, I believe that it will pass. At least the lockdown for once, on its own, will be stopped or will end. Okay, so it's not going to go on forever. So that darkness period will pass, and when it passes, you need light to be able to see where things are, to now know how fast you should run, in which direction you should run.
Okay.
But while you are in the darkness, what you can't do is begin to gym and start getting ready to run.
Okay.
So what I mean by that metaphor is that I wouldn't advise you to just say you want to jump from one career to another while you are in this lockdown period and say, oh, you want to move into something else. If you need to make money, that's a different thing. And you want to look at something you can make a quick buck or two to make good money, at least sustain you in this lockdown period, that's fine. But saying that you want to jump and change career all of a sudden, that might be
really advisable.
That might be risky.
All right, then, Coach Triple A here. Thank you so much, Coach. As always, we're always learning something new when we talk to you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time and stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
All right, so have you thought about, checking your immediate environment, what's happening in your world, seeing how you can reinvent yourself in this crisis? Hopefully we're giving you something to think about. We have to take a quick break. Wake Up Nigeria continues after this.
Dark soy sauce. I've got a huge spread here and I'm wondering what's perfect to make right now. Yeah, this is the face of a confused chef. Have you ever been in the situation where you walk into the kitchen and you have a large spread of ingredients and then you're wondering, what can I whip up? Well, just like you, I'm in that position right now. Yeah, I have an idea. I've got peanut butter, I've got hot sauce, I've got dark soy sauce, and yeah, let's make chicken peanut butter potato stew. Hi guys, my name is Uncle V and today I'm going to take you on a quick food session.
I went to the market today and it's amazing how people can actually be controlled because no one wants to die. Just a few people out there in the market. Sweet potatoes, guys. I've always had love for sweet potatoes. Growing up in just Plateau State, I used to eat sweet potatoes raw without actually cooking it. Just cut it and then eat it. These taste really good.
So on our ingredient list today, we have diced chicken, crushed tomatoes, diced carrots, onion, finely chopped ginger and garlic, peanut butter, sweet potatoes, blended pepper, sesame oil. So we'll be adding ginger and garlic, and then we're going to keep sauteing it. You want all the juices in the onion and garlic. So add our chicken. We're going to get that brown for a bit. Now the whole idea of this is to get the spices inside the chicken and also cook the chicken with the chicken oil. When this is done, it's going to taste amazing. So we'll be adding our spices now. Our salt, paprika, a bit of curry. Try not to let it burn. Oh my god, the flavor is amazing. All I can imagine is eating this already. So we're going to be cooking this for about 6 to 7 minutes. while we continuously stir it because we don't want it to get burned. At this point, we're going to be adding our diced potatoes, crushed tomatoes. Ta-da! So we're going to be adding our carrots now. Some water. So we're going to be adding our peanut butter. Finally, a little drizzle of sesame oil to add some more flavor. Oh my God. After we let it spread, we'll cover the pot and let it simmer. Oh, Jesus Christ. That's some amazing meal right there. So while lockdown season is upon us and everyone is bored, you can quickly follow us. The handle is down below for more recipes like this. And also you can order from at delizia.ng on Instagram. Our numbers are below as well. Stay happy, stay positive. So while we're waiting for this, we're going to chop our lettuce. You don't want to know how much I love lettuce. I think I got that love from my dad. Growing up in Jos and having fresh veggies, lettuce used to be my favorite for salad. Quickly chop that. I can't wait to dive in. I really cannot wait.
Wow, what a meal. Like, it's making us feel super hungry already. Chef B, why are you teasing us like that? It's not fair. Of course, the photo of that meal will definitely be on his social media pages. And talking about food, you know what they say about Netflix and chill? We're about to talk about Netflix. As it is, Netflix is launching a new series on Instagram that will focus on taking care of yourself and your mental health during the COVID-19 global pandemic. The series, which will begin airing on Instagram Live tomorrow at 7 p.m. PT, features the stars of some of Netflix's top young adult shows and movies, including To All the Boys, I've Loved Before, The Kissing Booth, Stranger Things, Cheer, and 13 Reasons Why. The series will run every Thursday from now through to May 14 on Netflix Instagram account, and we'll discuss the sorts of challenges that young people are facing during the health crisis. For example, it will touch on topics like what helps if you're having trouble sleeping, how do you stay connected during social distancing, how do we manage anxiety, and what self-care actually means. All right, still on the tech updates for this week, Zoom has been served with another class action lawsuit, this time by one of its shareholders who says he lost money after the company overstated its security measures, which led to its share price to tank. The video conferencing giant has seen its daily usage rocket from 10 million users to 200 million since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, which forced vast swaths of the world to stay and work from home. As its popularity rose, the company also faced a growing number of security and privacy problems, including claims that Zoom was not end-to-end encrypted as advertised. Zoom's later admissions saw the company's share price fall by almost 20%. Now, shareholder Michael Drew, who filed the suit in a California federal court on Tuesday, said he and others have suffered significant losses and damages as a result. According to the complaint, Drew bought 50 shares priced at $149.50, but lost out when he sold the shares a week later at 120.50 cents per share. Now, Zoom did not respond to a request for comment, and that is definitely something that has quite a number of business people interested in. All right, so moving on, Apple. Yes, it's Apple this time. Apple has under development a feature that would allow iOS users to interact with a third-party app, even if the app wasn't yet installed on their device. Now, according to a report from a 9 to 5 Mac, the report is based on information discovered in the iOS 14 code, which is not necessarily an indication of launch plans on Apple's part, but rather an insight into some of Apple's work in progress. The feature is referenced internally as the Clips API, not to be confused with Apple's video editing app of the same name, though. Now, based on 95 Mac's analysis, the new API works in conjunction with the QR code reader, allowing a user to scan a code linked to an app, then interact with that app from a card that appears on their screen. Described like this, the feature sounds like a marketing tool for app publishers, as it would offer a way for users to try out new apps before they download them, just to get a better feel for the experience than a banner ad would allow. In addition to offering some interactivity with an app before it's downloaded, the card could also be used to redirect users to the App Store if they choose to download the full version. So that's it. There's actually quite a lot of stuff going on in the world of technology right now. Everybody is trying to stay, abreast, because loads of people are making use of technology at the moment. So this is a call to our Nigerian developers as well. Hopefully we can come up with something really fantastic that will blow the world. All right, the second hour on Wake Up Nigeria is over. We still have 45 minutes left to go, and we believe you'll be right there with us.
Hello and welcome back. It's the third lap of the show and it's become an awesome experience today so far. About 45 minutes to go on this Easter Monday edition of the show. Remember, if you don't have to be out, please stay indoors and observe the highest level of personal hygiene you can. We still have quite a lot in store for you this morning. My name is Titi and it's been a while since I've seen you and I feel so good to be back. We have quite a few things coming up now and you have two options. You can stay right there or go online and stream the show live. That's tvcentertainment.tv, and of course Facebook is also live at TVC Connect. You can also send in those comments. We love seeing those comments, pictures, emojis, all sorts of things. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Welcome back. Now in celebration of Easter, we have Pastor Bolaji Ido of Harvesters International Christian Center joining us via Skype to talk about Easter and its importance to Christians. Thank you very much for joining us, Pastor.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be connected to all of you at TVC. It's nice to be on this show talking about Easter.
Fantastic. So as you said, talking about Easter, there's a lot to say when it comes to Easter. So for the benefit of those who don't actually understand what Easter is about, could you tell us more about Easter?
Well, first of all, this is a special Easter that we've ever had in the history of time, having Easter at home. But the concept of Easter is this, is that Jesus Christ died, and on the third day, he was raised from the dead. On the third day, he was raised from the dead. This begs us back to the question, why did Jesus Christ die? The reason why he died was because man had sinned, man had fallen away from God, and man couldn't help himself. So Jesus Christ came to take the punishment of man. He became the Lamb of God. And as every other lamb, he had to be killed because the scripture says that the wages of sin is death. So he died. But, he died means that man had paid the price of sin. For him to be raised from the dead again, it means that forgiveness, remission, redemption was now available to every other person. So as much as his death is powerful, Christianity is born out of his resurrection. Because when he rose from the dead, it meant that man's sin had been paid for, man was forgiven, and a new life in Christ was possible. I don't know if that cuts it. I don't know if that's simple enough.
That absolutely cuts it. So now that we've established what Easter is all about, you started saying that this is a special Easter, I guess, considering what's going on in the country right now. So there are people watching, looking to receive the hope that that Easter brings. So for those people, what message do you have for them? How would you encourage them in these times?
This is my message at this Easter. When Jesus is God, that's what we believe. When Jesus tried for 3 nights, I could imagine what was in the mind of Satan. Satan must have thought, oh, wow, I've won the battle. But on the third day, he rose again from the dead. What does that mean? In your darkest seasons, you can have a testimony afterwards. That weeping may endure for a night, but joy is coming in the morning. That's the message of Easter. That joy is coming in the morning. That's the message of Easter. So, just imagine when Jesus Christ died 3 days before. I don't know if I should say this here. A lot of people really believe that he died on Friday. If he really rose up on Sunday, he must have died on Thursday because the Bible says he spent 3 nights in the grave. But what I'm saying is that before the night he died, there was chaos, there was trouble, everybody was shocked, the disciples ran away. But by Sunday morning, the miracle was there. So if I believe in Easter, I must believe in the concept of the miracles of God, that God can turn everything around, absolutely. And so we're going through this COVID-19 challenges right now. It seems as if we're in the 3 days in the night, we're in that night period. But I believe that it's not going to end here. That the same way Jesus Christ died, he rose again, the same way it seems as if our world is going through a death period, but there's been resurrection. And let me say this finally. There will never be resurrection without death. So that means that death is a part of resurrection. So we're going through a tough time right now. Things are dying, but it's a proof that after this comes resurrection.
I've been meaning to ask, you know, what are the most common prayer points you've been hearing from people who want to celebrate this Easter by being immersed in prayer?
Okay, I mean, this Easter is unique. I guess the situation of the country and the globe as a whole has overshadowed the whole concept of Easter. Mostly during Easter, I mean, traditionally during Easter, you hear people full appreciation for what Jesus Christ did on the cross. And people are praying that whatever that means will become fully expressed in their life. That's what, you know, we prayed about this morning in our morning prayers on Instagram, you know, that will be fully expressed in their lives. You know, but the truth is this, some other people, because of this, people are praying. I mean, I just shared on social media on my Instagram account this morning, people are praying for safety because of where we are currently. I heard that some parts of the country are being boggled by people because of the rising hunger. You know, people have been, you know, a lot of things are going on, so people are praying about that. But normally during Easter, people want to know God more. People are appreciative of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. People are praying that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ would reflect in their lives. But the peculiarity of the situation has turned the prayers to more of protection, preservation, provision, the ending of the COVID-19 crisis. That's what I'm hearing right now.
So obviously you're probably connected to, you know, different ways, talking to Christians all over the world, probably watching online. Yes. What are other pastors, priests, religious leaders doing that is different this Easter?
Well, I mean, first of all, most services are held online. Like we had our service online yesterday, you know, so it was, you know, there was no physical gathering. That's what we're doing. People are, you know, so that's one thing. And we're just encouraging people. So one of the things we're doing differently is that we're encouraging people that during this tough season, if Easter is a season of love, can you make a difference and show someone love to someone that is on the lowest social strata ladder? That's what we are doing right now. And also, we're spending a lot of time in prayer and meditation, you know, believing that the same way, you know, we just have a firm belief. Easter is a powerful reminder that it was dark and there was a miracle. Right now it's dark, and we're saying that there was a miracle and we will experience a miracle in our world today. I don't know if I answered the question correctly.
Oh, amazing.
Now, let's go beyond the uncertainty of COVID-19 and these times. How can we relate Easter to life after COVID-19? Because so many people are afraid right now of losing their jobs. So many people say they don't have any money left to take care of themselves. So looking forward to life after COVID-19, how would you relate Easter to it to an average person?
Okay, so this is what I would say, life after COVID-19. 3 nights ago, he was dead. Life was over. Everything was finished. The Sunday morning, he rose from the dead. What I believe is this. I mean, I was reading an article online, and it said that experts are always predicting doom, but it's not as bad as it turns out to be. So what I say is this. After COVID-19, I'm hoping that people will find the hope in the Easter message. That's the key. The hope in the Easter message. And the second thing is this. You would also rest in the love of God. What does it mean to rest in the love of God? This is what I told someone. I got a call this morning. One of our church members had a baby, and the baby had jaundice. And they were calling me because they are taking him everywhere, and the hospitals were full, so they could not even get a place to admit the baby. And I called the lady and I said, hey, before you got pregnant, you were told you couldn't get pregnant because she had that situation. I said, but you got pregnant. I said, God does not do abandoned projects. So what am I saying that to you? If you are alive, if God gave you breath, if God gave you life, if God kept you alive at this time, you should be hopeful that God will not abandon you in the middle of the journey. If Jesus Christ, the biggest thing God had, the Bible said, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. The Bible doesn't say God has houses. The Bible doesn't say God has roads or gold. It doesn't say all of that. It says this is what God begot by himself, his only begotten son. And if that son could hang on the cross, the height of God's love, I mean, that should tell you that God loves you so much, I will not be abandoned in this season. So for COVID-19, I want us to be full of hope. That's the first thing, because mentally, if you break down, this is what I tell people. your life will move in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. So if your dominant thoughts are fear and failure, your life will gravitate towards it. If your dominant thoughts are shame, it will gravitate towards it. If your most dominant thoughts are hope and success, it will move towards it. Although we're going through a tough time right now, you need to train your mind and say, because God is with me, I can expect a miracle. I can believe my tomorrow will be better. Although things are hard right now, but things will get better. You need to look at the future with a sense of hope and says, these are the worst days right now. The best is yet to come. This is the way the Bible says in Psalm 23. The psalmist paints a very graphic and illustrative message. He says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, he says, I will fear no evil. Watch this now. He says, I will fear no evil, meaning that there are things to make me afraid. When I see the projection by WHO, I should be afraid. When I see the projection by NCDC, I should be afraid. When I see what the banks are saying about inflation, I should be afraid. Yes.
Thank you so much, Pastor. We only wish we had more time to continue this conversation, but we really appreciate you for giving us your time today, and thank you for that
Thank you very
message
much.
of hope.
Thank you so much, Pastor Bolaji Idowu. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
You are very.
With that, we come
hopeful note.
Yes, very hopeful.
We bid everyone happy Easter.
That's right.
Try and find a way to celebrate it with your families, and we will be back again 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah. Have a great day. Happy Easter.
Bye. Bye.